I'm not sure why, but I get asked a lot of questions about how I get good at sniper, or how I got good at sniper. And the reason I'm not sure about why people are asking me this is because honestly, I'm not the best sniper out there. I sometimes have my games and hit a bunch of shots and stuff like that, but a lot of the time, I'm a pretty average sniper player. But enough of you guys asked for this, so here I am today to try and do my best to help you. I'm not an expert, I'm not a comp player, I am not even like a really high level like pub player sniper, but I'm here to just do my best. But before we get into that, I just want to say that if you do go on to enjoy the video and learn anything from this, if you can leave the video a like and also subscribe if you're not already, that would mean a lot. A bunch of you watching all the time aren't actually subbed, and it would mean a lot if you just clicked that little red button. I'm not sure why the YouTube meta is to ask for this at the start, but it's the game you got to play. Okay, so your aim is a big thing when it comes to playing sniper, obviously. So how do you get better at your aim? Well, to start with, you need to find what sensitivity on your mouse you actually want to play with. This isn't just a set, this sense is good for sniper, and I can give you my settings and you'll be absolutely fine with it. At least from my experience, that's not how this works. What I think you should be doing instead is jumping between a couple of different servers, trying out some different sensitivities, and finding what you think is comfortable with and a sensitivity that you think you can get better with. Obviously, you're not going to be perfect straight away, so missing some shots at this point is okay. I mean, missing shots in general is okay, but making sure that the sense is the one you're comfortable with is the main thing that you're trying to do at this point. The next thing to learn is to aim the way that you find the most comfortable. So you can either go for more of like a tracking style of aim where you're moving your mouse after people or even flick shot into their heads, which is the way that I like to play, and I feel like because I played CSGO, this style fits me a lot better than the other type, which is steady aim, where basically what you're doing instead is predicting where the people are going to be running and placing your crosshair in the right spot, ready for them to run into it and shooting at the right time. It is obviously possible to do both of these styles and just use whichever fits the moment better. There's literally no wrong answer into how you choose to aim as a sniper. If your mouse is somehow getting to that person's head, nobody's going to ask questions about how it got there, unless there's a computer doing it for you. People might quote other YouTubers' videos or other players or whatever, but just ignore them. Find which style you like and play better with, and ignore everybody else. This is you playing the video game, so just make sure you're playing the way you want to play. And again, you're just trying to find at this point which you feel more comfortable with and what you think you can get the most kills with. Learning both here is not a bad idea at all. Now, the final thing we want to talk about with the aim is the practice. For me personally, I don't really do any aim training at all. I find it ridiculously boring. I just play regular games and see how I do. I like practicing in actual games because then you are aiming at how people actually walk and will have to predict how real players will actually be navigating the map. It's all well and good shooting things on a training map because they have set movements. You learn the movements and you learn to shoot against those. That's the same kind of principle in real games. You learn how real people move and where realistically you should be looking and aiming. But if you just want to learn the basics, then TR_walkway is a really good map to do that, especially when trying to learn how to shoot classes from multiple different angles. The demo is an especially difficult class to shoot from behind because for some reason his head kind of just ducks down behind everything he's wearing, so it's really difficult to find where his head actually is and where you need to put your crosshair. You can also practice against classes running up and down ramps because those angles are also a little bit different, and TF2's hitboxes are a little bit funny, so honestly playing in the TR walkway map before you're jumping into a casual game isn't a bad idea. I personally just don't do it that much because I've spent so much time doing that in the past, if that makes any sense. But yeah, for me, aiming in a real game against real players is the best thing I think you could be doing. Next up, let's talk a little bit about positioning. This is another one of the most important things you can possibly learn while trying to get better at sniper. Every single map in the entire game has a bunch of really common sniper spots, which are actually pretty decent to stand in, even though you will probably be joined with one or two other snipers. But what I would recommend doing is trying to find more angles in the map, which is a little bit unorthodox and where people would not really be expecting a sniper to stand and shoot them from. This is why a lot of the time you'll see me push up a little bit further than you would as a sniper, because people wouldn't be expecting that class in that position, and it might end up throwing them off, so I get an easy kill. It's also a really good idea to make sure you're changing positions whenever an enemy sniper sees you where you currently are, or you've killed somebody a couple of times from the same spot. This way you can keep the enemy on their toes and they can't just pre-aim the spot you've been standing in the entire time. This in turn then makes the enemy way easier to kill again because they'll be looking at where you just were rather than where you've just moved to. Honestly, as long as you keep moving around and being unpredictable for the enemy, you should find yourself being able to line up some pretty easy kills on some very confused players. And another thing with positioning that you really need to learn is you need to know when you should be moving forward and trying to get more picks, or when you should be running away and trying to stay alive. If all of your team has pushed the enemy back and where you're currently standing is completely devoid of enemies or even people, then it's a pretty good idea to start pushing up back to where your team's line is so you can try and get some picks from a decent way away. But if a couple of your teammates die and you can see a bunch of enemies with a medic or something like that, it might be a good idea to leave, else you'll be overwhelmed within a couple of seconds and end up dying, which you don't really want. There's a lot that goes into positioning as a sniper, so just make sure you're always kind of aware of where you are and where you should realistically be standing. Quick thing before we move on, target priority. You need to be able to make sure you know which target is the most important for you to be shooting at. When there's a medic, that should be who you're aiming for. When there's not a medic, getting rid of the classes that can do the most damage the fastest is the main target. When everyone is a bit spread out, nobody is really in any other danger, finding enemy snipers should be what you're doing, or at that point just get whatever kills you actually can. But for me, medics and snipers are kind of the two classes I aim at the most. Learning who you should be aiming at and forcing yourself to try and aim at those players even though there's a bunch of people in front of you will make you get used to not panicking when you see a bunch of enemies and focusing on the one that you actually want to kill most. You'll see this in CSGO a lot of the time where there's two enemies push you at the same time, you don't know who to shoot at, so you end up just like firing down the middle. That's what you're trying to avoid here. You don't just want to shoot in the middle of all of these enemies because you don't know what you're actually trying to kill. So another huge thing as a sniper you need to be able to do, which I'm not the best at, I have to be honest, is map awareness. Things like knowing in your current position where you could be shot from and keeping an eye on those angles just so you're not shot is a very, very big deal. If you're standing on the cliff on upward, you're very, very vulnerable, so you're going to have to be checking a lot of different angles all the time. Another huge thing is figuring out where the enemy snipers are and where their spies are as well, and trying to keep track of them the best you can. You should be asking yourself, are they alive? If they are, where are they? Or where could they be on the map right now? And something I only got told about recently is the 3-second rule. And basically what this is once you've fired a shot at somebody, you wait 3 seconds and then turn around to check for spies. I guess what this does is kind of baits the spy to thinking you're not going to unscope, so by the time they're too close and they can't escape, you can turn around and start attacking them. This is something I really need to learn, so I'll let you know how that goes once I've played a little bit more. But knowing the map you're playing on and where/who you're currently vulnerable from is a huge thing to learn while playing sniper, and I feel as though you'll find yourself dying a lot less to stupid things, which will make you already feel like a much better player. Keeping track of enemy spies is probably one of my weaknesses right now because I'm not really that aware of them a lot of the time. I mentioned this in a video recently. So I think if I'm taking anything away from my own video here, learning where the spies are and tracking them and, you know, realizing if they're alive or not is probably where I'm going to be going from here on out. But anyway, that is going to do it. I think I did a pretty good job considering I'm not actually a pro player. Anyway, if you enjoyed, I would really appreciate it if you would leave this video a like and also subscribe to the channel if you're new. It would mean a whole lot to me. This video took such a long time. And also check out my Twitch linked below if you want to see how much better I get as sniper. I guess I stream there every day anyway, so even if I'm not playing sniper, there's something there for you to be watching. But yeah, thank you all again so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.